a very great occasion once again this quarter. We have two luminaries from the railways, both of whom have served on South Central, and incidentally, both of them happen to be IRAS officers who have distinguished themselves. I'll quickly give you, for those who do not know Mr. V.S. Shastri, he is a very well-known, otherwise officer, not only here in South Central, but also in the railways in general. We are happy that he agreed to our request to be the chief guest on a day when we have an achiever, NVS Reddy, being inducted into our Achievers Club, and he will do the honors. So very briefly, to give you an idea about Mr. Vishwanatha Subbaraya Shastri Garu, I don't know how many of you know that he was an All India Chartered Accountant topper, a gold medalist, sir, way back in 1957, 56 perhaps. He joined the IRS in 57. Sir, please pardon us if you have got the years wrong, because there is always a doubt about which year, civil service, IAS, and so on. What is more amazing is that he belongs to a family of accountants. All his brothers are chartered accountants or associated with accountancy in some way or the other. And presumably, we were told in good old days that he was the first chartered accountant who refused to continue his profession. He said, I would rather join and serve the government in IRAs. I think this is another very major achievement, and we are proud that he has been there to help us through our careers. He has been a pioneer in EDP and information systems in good old days, and I have managed to locate an extract. Way back in 1979, Mr. Shastri was a member of a committee along with Mr. Gill. Sir, if you recall the names, Ashok Mehrotra, This is the committee on FOIS. Now the FOIS which we are now today hearing of, and the PRS system, and you could recall what is written there is, it was not passenger reservation system, it was called passenger seat reservation, PSR, then it became PRS. So he was one of the first, perhaps the leading member of that team on the IT side, and that was the earliest report we have. There were others also on that committee, but he was the one who spearheaded it. Of course, after that, there have been several committees, several committees, I should say, but which saw the light of the day only sometime in later on in '89, when Madhavrao Scindia was the minister, and so on. After that, most of you would have joined, and it is legendary by then. So Mr. Shastri has been one of those at that time. He was also the FNCO at RCF Kapurthala and was instrumental in he was one of the key designers of the entire project. He took great interest. On our railway, he had commissioned 30 costing studies, and some of us happen to be members of those costing studies in a series called Do You Know series, which was very well appreciated in those days. Costing of an activity. Now, for instance, how much does it cost when an accident happens? How much does it cost if you're setting up a J-grade post? In those days, provisions were different and the actual hidden costs were much more else. So these were some of the studies he encouraged us to do. He also conducted innovative quiz, which is being continued now, Quiz Lekha on the Indian Railways. And of course, after retirement, he was commissioned by the minister for doing a study on the depreciation policy. Depreciation policy, as you all know, continues to be a bane of the budget, of the railway budget, but he gave his thoughts from a chartered accountant's perspective and his experiences otherwise. What some of you do not also would know is, Mr. Shastri is a brilliant bridge player, and in good old days, he represented, I am told, both Mr. and Mrs. Shastri represented the various zonal railway teams. So we're very happy to have you here, sir, and it's only fitting that a person like you would hand over or induct Mr. NVS Reddy into the Achievers Club. Quickly on to NVS Reddy, a very good colleague of mine. He has seen perhaps more service outside the railways than in the railways. Like I also happen to spend more time outside railways than in the railways on deputation. NVS is actually a bureaucrat who has reformed a lot of good reforms in the systems he has worked. He's been a transformational leader. And I'm sure you all will agree with me that infrastructure development after Hyderabad Metro, not only in Hyderabad, in the country, has seen a new dimension. He's been very innovative in that, as you would see in his presentation. The other side of NVS is that he's a good environmentalist. Very few of us really bother about, climate change and need for disturbing ecology to the least possible extent when you're undertaking an infra project. And we will see more about that. And it's not that he does his work quietly. He also shares whatever he knows, whatever he has learnt with a whole lot of colleagues. I would say one of the reasons why we have such a wonderful audience here today, even at the start itself, is perhaps that all of you want to listen to NVS Reddy, right? Because we have heard of him. We have heard of him as somebody who is gone out of the railways but then made a mark. And we particularly choose the topic today, and I'm sure that would interest you. He'll speak more about that. Very quickly, NVS was a leftist in his college days. I don't know how many of us were, but he was surely a follower of Sri Sri. In fact, he received an award from Sri Sri, our famous revolutionary poet Sri Rangam Srinivasa Rao Garu gave him an award in those days. He is from the prestigious Jawaharlal Nehru University, where he did his MA and his MPhil. And then, of course, 83, he joined the IRAs. His career, by now, it is mostly known to many of us, but then he started in Konkan and South Central, spent about 18 years in that period. Then he joined the power sector. Incidentally, I was also there in the power sector at that time. And then after that, he moved to the municipal corporation. For a brief time, he was associated with the MMTS project. But then I think the key point in his career was when he joined the HM. In fact, he was the founding managing director of HMRL. And finally, just this year, just towards the end of last year, he's moved into the government as an advisor. So you would see in a career of about maybe from 1984 to today, 18 years in the railways, Konkan and South Central, and then another 18 years in, the metro. So he's actually, sometimes we say for us, Karana Purshudu. It just happened that he was there at the right time at the right place, but then he took it up all with so much passion, and that is why we see the Hyderabad Metro what it is today. He has managed, and I don't want to give other connotations, but he has served for 18 and a half years in a state government post, sir. He has managed to be there for 18 and a half years. It is a record for a state PSU as well as a central PSU. MDs, we have seen them for about 10, 12 years, but not this 18 and a half years. And that is because perhaps he has really understood the need of the assignment he has been given and the people who mattered. He's worked with 6 chief ministers. He's worked with 17 chief secretaries. And post-retirement, and this is really, really amazing. This is not something which comes every day to everyone. He has had 10 extensions post-retirement. This single credit of his, and I know he's very humble about it, this is what really, in fact, he said, don't put all these things, this is only, I said, no, we must let people know that post-retirement you can still excel and still be useful to society. I think that is the message he's giving us. That is his mentor, Sridharan, very early. And after that, I think he has shown the way how metro projects can be done after Sridharan started it. Very quickly, I don't think we should spend much time on it, but we will mention, incidentally, in the Railways Guardian, he was nice enough to give us an article. So most of these things are there in that. He will talk about these things himself in his speech. But the opportunities for us as retired railwaymen and also serving railwaymen, he will tell us something about this. There are so many firsts for Hyderabad Metro. I don't know how many of you know that this is a project where 80% of the, first of all, it's one of the first PPP, perhaps the first PPP mode project in Metro. And 80% private company is willing to put it into a state government project. That is the confidence in which they had in him as MD. And so many other technical aspects. Litigations, land acquisition. Most of our railway projects get held up only because we're not able to acquire very legitimately the land. But in an urban area like Hyderabad, there were more than 370 cases in the court. Others were settled out, but 370 went to the court, and he was there handling it with his legal team. And what is amazing is, I believe latest count is that all of them, they have HMRL as one. Now that calls for a leadership which is really, at it. Some other aspects of him we'll go on to. He is a very, very passionate environmentalist. Last count, the social cost of carbon emission which has been saved is a staggering 350 crores. 350 crores of carbon emissions have been saved because, metro has been introduced. Otherwise, there were so many. And this is an elevated metro, which is more eco-friendly than underground metros. See, that is the difference. And we as railwaymen will surely appreciate that sort of a interesting aspect. Regenerative braking, of course, it's there in our trains also. That is what was put into the metro rails. About 15 lakh trees were planted, and about over 2,000 trees were translocated, and he was there doing it every day in and out, helping that particular effort to go on without any problems. And I think overall, at the end of the day, we are happy that, in spite of the pollution which Delhi is facing, Hyderabad is spared of that because we have a metro in time, so that our roads don't get congested and our pollution levels do not go up. People are migrating from Delhi to Hyderabad perhaps for that reason. A lot of good stations, all of us have seen this, we have experienced it. So I requested him for some slides and he shared them with us. We are very happy about that. And yes, this I think goes to the credit of Hyderabad Metro as a team. Almost all the stations, all the major operating stations, you can see the blue ones are the blue line and the red is the red line. These stations have been rated as platinum stations by the IGBC. There's a rating agency, all of you know, and these stations have been given a rating. It's an international agency which has given this rating. So I think all in all, I believe for a railwayman to take the metro to a next level, focusing on climate change and focusing on environment, is surely a great achievement, and we are happy that he's been there doing it. Yes, NVS is a poet. I didn't know it till he rang me up and said, "Would you like to come to my book release?" I said, "What?" And I believe he started with writing songs and he integrated metro with that. So, Mardala Maisamma Metro Rail Ochindi. I tell you, these are catchy phrases and the Telangana public have loved it. At all Ganesh Pandals, they've been blared, I believe, and he's also written a book on long poems. He's also writing short stories now. I think now that he'll have a little more time. Writing short stories on this. But what is amazing is that, when you're in the midst of such heavy stress, if you take up writing poems, that only speaks of, his multitasking capability. We must really compliment NVS for being that, from our railway group. That is the book he wrote. Some other day, maybe we should listen to you on this. Yeah, I think this is a little lengthy introduction for a speaker, but I think it's worth every single slide I made for him. He is an inspirational speaker, and you name the Management Institute. He has put India on the international university map. The Ivy League, Stanford, Harvard, ISB, they all have case studies of Hyderabad Metro. And of course, his leadership style has also been described very profusely in that. I could have avoided this, but not every railwayman gets an opportunity to have photo ops with such people. You have Modi there, you have the president, you have the vice president, and 5 chief ministers in the metro of Andhra Pradesh, and in his power sector days, the earlier chief minister of combined Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu. So this is basically a profile of NVS, a lot of awards, and as just mentioned, he has taken over as the advisor to the government. He's still associated but not operationally directly with HMRL. He's now looking after urban transport. He leaves a memorable legacy behind. I think it is on safe hands and safe wheels. And I think we at the Retired Officers Association deem it a privilege to have him here address us today. And I will not take any more further. We will request our chief guest to kindly induct him into the Achievers Club officially, and after which he will address us on the subject which we are all waiting for. So can we have Mr. NVS ready? Yeah. Sir.
Thank you, sir, for that very, very enlightening and superb introduction of our keynote speaker. Some individuals just don't build projects. They build our confidence while transforming our future. With respect and admiration, we would like to felicitate Shri NVS Reddy Garu. I request all the guests on stage to felicitate. Some people build structures, some build systems, but a rare few build cities that move. NVS Reddy Garu is a man who transformed congestion into connectivity, delay into discipline, and daily commute into dependable comfort. He is fondly known as the Metro Man and is the architect of the Hyderabad Metro Rail. Thank you very much, sir. I invite today's keynote speaker, Shri NVS Reddy Garu, to kindly respond. I'm sure all of you are eagerly waiting to listen to him because the topic is so very interesting, post-retirement opportunities, and who else can enlighten us better than NVS Reddy Garu? Thank you, sir.